It's really good.
It's pretty easy, huh?
And everything's better in a fancy snifter.
Totally.
Hey everybody, my name's JP. This is Colin. We're the Agave Geeks. We love tequila, we love agave, and something we wanted to do for the longest time, ever since COVID happened, is get together and try some new tequila. Both Colin and I come from a restaurant background, tequila bar background, so we've missed the ability to go out and taste and have fun with tequila. So this is us on our first video. Thank you so much for joining us. This tequila we're trying today is the Rock's Teremana tequila. Again, it's a tequila that neither he nor I have tried before, so we're excited to get into it. We're going to talk about everything from the bottle to the terroir, to also have some recipes at the end that we can enjoy. Now, before we went into the tasting of the video, we also warmed our mouth. And so if you're interested in learning how to do that so you can properly taste tequila, check out the link in the description to the video on how to do that. As well as the SANGRITA recipe that we're going to be using as a palate cleanser. We also have a video for that as well. So again, thank you for joining us, and here we go. Colin, tell me what you know about Teremana.
So it is, as you mentioned, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's tequila, one of many celebrity-driven tequilas now. He's apparently spent a lot of time on it. I think the idea started back in 2018. Yeah, I think he had quite a hand in the process, actually. As opposed to just putting his name on something, I know he was down there quite a bit. Choosing a distillery, tasting samples. They did decide to go with a Highland tequila, which typically, in the highlands of Jalisco, the agaves get more sun, more rain, they grow much bigger, so you typically get a sweeter agave. So I'm very curious to see how that comes out in the tequila. Slow roasted in ovens. I know they do a slow and low roast, meaning it's slowly roasted at a lower temperature for a longer time. Probably extracts a little more sweetness from it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to try it. It's gluten-free according to the bottle as well. So that'll be exciting for my diet. What have you found out about it?
So what I know is that Teremana is actually not a word from Spanish. It actually is more of a Polynesian term. It stands, terra is earth and mana is a Polynesian spirit. So Teremana is spirit of the earth. You know, and I think The Rock does a really good job of expressing his care for that concept. And I appreciate that he's bringing it to the world of tequila. Colin said, there are a lot of celebrities that are backing tequila, but at the end of the day, it's about how the tequila tastes. It's slow and low roasted for about 3 days, made in some handcrafted copper stills. So really excited to get into it. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start with the Blanco, as always. Blanco is an unaged tequila. It's gonna get the truest representation of agave.
Just to speak on the price point really quickly, I was really impressed with the price point actually. It's considered a premium tequila, yet I think the Blanco was about 28 bucks.
Right.
The pair was just about 60 bucks for both of them. I expected it to be a little pricier for a newer, hotter tequila.
Absolutely.
This tequila did come out in March, so you may not see it in many restaurants because it did kind of release right at the start of COVID. But
right.
It was pretty easy to find at like a Total Wine or a Bevmo, something like that.
Interesting. I think I'm getting some herbal notes, despite it being over in the Highlands. It's less fruity, more herbal, almost like Italian herbs.
It smells like it may have a little sweetness to it. Definitely get the cooked agave, and for those that don't know what cooked agave smells or tastes like, it's comparable to like a sweet potato or a cooked yam.
Right.
Almost like a Thanksgiving yam with marshmallow. That's kind of what cooked agave smelled and tastes like to me.
I think it's a mild smell. It's not overpowering.
No,
right?
No,
I get some alcohol, but it's not really an overpowering smell.
It actually smells pretty smooth.
Right. I was not expecting for it to smell the way it did. So overall for the nose, it's pretty mild.
Should we talk about the tequila flutes we're drinking from?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead, take it away.
So Riedel, glassware company, they do mostly wine glasses, but they had brought many tequila makers to, I believe, Switzerland or Sweden, wherever they make Riedel, and they came up together with a tequila flute. So this is a glass designed for sipping tequila. It focuses the smell to your nose. And yeah, it looks like a champagne glass.
It does look like a champagne glass.
Tequila flute. So Absolutely. It is designed for a nice sipping tequila.
Right, if you're looking for one, there's gonna be a link to that in the description, and enjoy. Salud.
Let's do it. It's actually much smoother than I expected.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good. It's crisp. It doesn't have that bite of alcohol at the end.
It still has a warm finish, but not one that is overpowering. And like, it doesn't make me have that tequila face when it's a really bad tequila. I feel like it feels harsh, and it doesn't. It feels like it gets warm to the point where it's about to, but then it dissipates.
It's actually way cleaner than I expected, for sure.
What I taste is a lot of what I smell.
I get a little citrus, I guess, in it at the beginning. Crisp, clean.
It doesn't taste I don't get a lot of fruitiness to me, and I think I was expecting more of a fruitiness.
It smells sweeter than it tastes, I think, but no, not a whole lot of sweetness, just crisp. I would drink this maybe on a big ice cube, a slight chill to it.
Now, this probably goes really, really nicely in a margarita. All right, so that's the Blanco.
What did you learn about the Repo?
Repo, actually, I couldn't find that much information as I would like to have. I wanted to see exactly how many days that it is aged for, but I couldn't find that information. So I don't know if you were able to find that as well.
It said just shy of a year from what I could find, but that was in an interview. It wasn't like a legit source. It just seemed, once a tequila hits a year in a barrel, it becomes an añejo. So it seemed to be just shy of that añejo point.
I do know it's American white oak bourbon barrels, so we'll see how that affects the flavor. But considering just color from the bottle is a very mild color.
More of a straw.
So just at first glance, I'm not expecting it to be affected too much by the oak flavor, but we'll see. Interesting, in the glass it's super light.
So they don't make an añejo yet. This is as far as the lineup has gone. It's just a Blanco and a Reposado.
It's different. I think you get a little bit of lighter oak smell to it, but not too much. I mean, it doesn't smell that much different than the Blanco.
It doesn't smell necessarily smoother than the Blanco, which typically it'll smell a little softer, and it smells pretty comparable to the Blanco in it.
You get maybe a vanilla orange smell to it.
Sorry, I went in.
No, it's all right.
I went in.
I'm too slow. Oh, another pleasantly surprising taste.
A little bit of vanilla.
Cinnamon, vanilla, orange, super strong in
like
this.
a burnt orange or something.
I think this is very apropos for the holidays, the way it tastes to me. Like I could picture myself drinking this while having a Thanksgiving turkey dinner.
I think I prefer the Blanco to the Reposado, honestly.
Really?
But it's it's good.
It's hard for me when I get a cinnamon flavor. That's like all I can think about.
Yeah.
It's a very strong flavor, but.
And you do get a little of the bourbon from those oak barrels for sure. It's definitely not sweet. It's not like a scary sweet. I get really turned off by sweet tequilas these days, and I think.
But I think that's why we work, because I prefer more of the sweeter tequilas. Some tequilas are very heavy-handed on that, and I think for me this is a good balance between the two. I prefer the Repo as opposed to the Blanco.
The second and third sip actually was it's getting better. Good call on the SANGRITA.
Cleanse the palate a little bit. Going for one last sip. Oh, a lot more of the wood comes out after the SANGRITA.
I would say I'm surprised. I'm a little more impressed than I don't know. I expected, again, another celebrity-driven tequila.
You expect that to be made and slap my label on it, but you can tell that there's clearly been care put into tequila, and we appreciate that. Of course, anybody who's able to help push out another tequila, we're fans of just by the fact that they're doing it.
Bringing attention to the category for sure.
Right. So your verdict is you feel the value is there as far as the price point and the flavor. My verdict as far as producing these into cocktails and providing to the bars, Blanco is an excellent margarita tequila, as we're soon going to find out with some recipes. The Repo, I can sip, but I can probably also use that in a margarita. Both of them are really good. The value, I think, is there. There's a lot of tequilas in that price range. I would definitely drink this again.
Totally. And I typically like to mix with the Blancos. The Repos are for sipping.
Right.
You want that clean slate without the oak influence when you're making, anything fruit forward, anything for mixing. I think the Blancos are just a clean slate. Whereas that oak influence may be a little confusing in like a watermelon margarita or something like that. So for me, Blancos are for mixing, Reposados are for sipping. And I wouldn't turn down either of these. Let's make some drinks.
Make some drinks. So for the next phase of the videos, we're going to take this tequila and then pair it with some cocktails that we have prepared in advance. So from the little that we know of these tequilas, we then take that information and think of recipes that follow a couple rules. With the main rule being that each ingredient has to be easily sourceable from a grocery store, because the idea is that you can take this tequila, in this case Teremana, you can buy a bottle of that, you can go to your grocery store and make that recipe today. So that's what we're going for. And in addition, every recipe, whenever possible, will have some sort of picture version of it that you'll be able to download. Going to our website, theagavegeeks.com. but it's all for the sake of the idea of making cocktails and margaritas and tequila. And we've always felt that people who enjoy margaritas just generally like to have a good time. So the more people we can get to partake in that, the better.
And I think we want them to be easy to make. We want them to be approachable in the recipes, and everyone can make margaritas at home. And I think that's what we're trying to relate, is that it shouldn't be intimidating. It should be, you'll see here from our recipes, it should be all stuff you can find at the grocery store and whip together pretty quickly. We're just excited to bring good cocktails to you and make them easy to make. And I mean, everyone's drinking at home now, so you should be able to make a legit margarita at home.
A thing I love about tequila is that I feel that it pairs so well with a variety of fruits that you can afford to get really creative and have delicious cocktails at home. And while we would love to go to restaurants to enjoy cocktails on a regular basis, that's just not kind of the world we're in right now. So why don't we do the best with what we have around us, meaning pick out some fruit and make some cocktails. So let's get into it without further ado. Let's hit the recipes. The next step in our video is how do these tequilas pair with cocktail recipes? You know, as much as we love sipping tequilas, we love so much more building tequilas into margaritas and then seeing how that goes. And I was just telling Colin that it's been a long time since I've had somebody, at least with the past few months, have somebody make a cocktail for me. So I'm beyond excited. I don't know exactly how it's gonna taste, but we miss the ability to be able to produce for others and have others produce for us. One of the beauties of what we're doing is being able to share our talents with other people. So that being said, let Colin go ahead and talk about his recipe and how it's gonna play out.
Again, I wanted to just come up with something that was easy to make at home. I also wanted to make a cocktail to match my shirt. So we're gonna go with a pineapple, orange, and guava cocktail, margarita rather. All stuff again you can find at the grocery store. Kern's guava nectar. I mean, you can find it on any shelf in a grocery store. Dole pineapple, fresh squeezed OJ, and it's a pretty easy recipe. We're gonna start with 2 ounces of Teremana Blanco. I'm gonna build it all in this little measuring cup here and make it pretty easy. 1 ounce of agave nectar. 1 ounce of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of guava nectar, 1 ounce of orange juice, and 1 ounce of lime juice. So after 2 on the tequila, it's 1 ounce of everything else. And then we fresh squeeze the lime juice ahead of time here. So I'm gonna pour it over some fresh ice in a pint glass. Make sure that agave gets in there. And give it a good shake. It's interesting bartending sitting down.
I know, it's different.
It takes some getting used to.
You need different muscles.
So obviously you can put salt on the rim, chili salt. I'm a big fan of chili salt. This being a little bit more fruit forward and tropical, I just wanted to go ahead and no salt it. Boom.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers. Salud.
Salud.
And when we drink these tequilas, we're tasting them and enjoying the flavors. We want you to do the same and make these cocktails at home. And if you're able to make both of them, please vote on either our website or on social media who wins, because while we can determine the winner, we might be a little bit biased to who has the better cocktail. Yeah, but salud.
Cheers.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Makes me want to be at the beach. That is pretty good. And again, easy. Easy 2 ounces of tequila, 1 ounce of everything else. And yeah, pretty straightforward.
All right. And then, you know, I know that squeezing lime juice to get enough limes to make a cocktail can be a pain, especially if you're doing it for a lot of people. So, you know, there are some fresh squeezed juices that are pre-juiced and then placed into a bottle. So, you know, if that's for you, then don't feel ashamed. There's so many videos that say don't use prepackaged lime juice, but use what you have available to you, because at the end of the day, making these cocktails shouldn't be a hassle. It should be something you want to do, you have fun doing, and whether you're squeezing or getting it from, like, Paracone Farms is a great brand to use. They produce some nice fresh juices, so we prefer to use that.
And you should be able to get about an ounce of lime juice out of every lime for any recipes you're making. So when you're at the grocery store, you know, typically 1 good sized lime equals 1 ounce of lime juice. Right. So again, I used a little rubber jigger here. It's 8 ounces, I think 10 ounces to the top. So you can just build the whole thing in one cocktail, or you can use a jigger, which is typically 1 ounce on one side, 2 ounce on the other side.
Right.
Or use a measuring cup if you got one of those at home too. So I'm not trying to get too geeky here.
Use whatever you got to make the magic happen. Cool. Well, thank you. This is delicious.
Oh man, thank you.
And of the cocktails that we've had today, this is by far the best. It's so far.
It's the first.
It's the first one. Okay, so for my recipe, we're doing something a little bit different. I'm gonna be using the Reposado, even though I said that I would have preferred to use a Blanco to mix and a Repo to taste. Considering this is aged in bourbon barrels, I wanted to go for a recipe that goes much better with a whiskey. Hence the aging in the Reposado should be able to help enhance this recipe.
So you're doing a whiskey cocktail.
I'm doing a whiskey cocktail.
Aged in a whiskey barrel.
Yes, so this is a variation of a whiskey smash. I'm gonna be using just some beautiful fruits and some mint. So I'm gonna use a couple of strawberries, some blueberries, a couple raspberries, some mint.
All easy to find at the grocery store.
Everything you can find in the grocery store. And that's the goal of all this, to see how easy it is to make a recipe. There are not intense measurements in the recipe that I'm doing. Anybody can do this. So it's simple enough. A couple raspberries, maybe 3, maybe 4 blueberries, taste. I'm gonna add a couple strawberries. A couple slices of lemon. We're gonna eyeball a little bit of agave. It doesn't have to be that much because the fruit itself, especially the blueberry, is gonna have a lot of natural sugars in it. So you just really need a little bit. But if you want to get super accurate, I'm hoping to get about 0.75 in an ounce to an ounce of agave. Finally, gonna add some mint. Not too much, and I won't. No, I'm not gonna slap the mint. No. Slapping the mint. I swear.
Your mustache isn't big enough for that.
No, I don't have a big enough mustache, and I'm not wearing a denim apron to be, qualified for slapping the mint. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a muddler to masticate everything, get as much juice as possible.
Now, if you don't have a muddler at home, is there something you recommend in its place? A wooden spoon, the back of a wooden spoon?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use a wooden spoon to do it. It's
mortar and pestle.
Yeah, you could definitely do that an old school way. I'm sure that's exactly how they did it before. I'm using one that has a serrated bottom, and I feel that that's better for really getting a lot of not just the juice extracted from whatever fruity part of the fruit is, but it's also good for getting some like the zest out of the lemon. So you can do that. My usual go-to though is a wooden one with a flat bottom because I feel like that's just easier to clean. So whichever one floats your boat, but I feel like you'll get the most different flavors from all the fruit using one that's a little bit heavier with a serrated edge.
Especially for herbs and citrus. I think that macerated one is
absolutely
better.
Okay, so I think that's good there. And then I will add 2 ounces of tequila. Actually, we'll get a jigger. So I'm gonna do 2 ounces. Mashing it a little bit heavier. Maybe let's do a little 2.5 ounce. I like the way that sounds. There. Nice it up.
So that's just fruit, tequila, and agave.
Fruit, tequila, agave. Shake it up.
Shaking sitting down, huh? It's not as easy.
It's not as easy. It's not as easy. I feel like I think I jiggle more when I shake while I am sitting down. So this will be for you, Colin. I'll make one for me after the fact.
Thank you so much.
But this
color is beautiful.
You. It's nice. And then you'll find a theme. Hold on. I gotta make it
I got excited.
a little nicer. I gotta put a little bit of a garnish for you. Gosh, you're a guest here. I gotta make sure you get that flavor.
Gorgeous.
Cheers. I'm gonna make another one for me. The rest out.
With the Repo, it's delicious. The yolk isn't conflicting at all. It's really good.
Glad you like it.
Yeah.
Glad you waited for me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, got my blueberries, a couple raspberries.
It's like a smoothie with tequila in it. It's delicious.
Gosh, just add some wheatgrass and you're good to go. I don't think it's keto friendly though. Okay.
So smooth. pour your tequila while you're waiting here.
Oh, thank you. Tequila. This one's for me. And 2.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Salud.
Sorry, I couldn't wait, but cheers.
It's okay. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Maybe onto something.
Yeah, that'll do. So there you have it. We have 2 different recipes. One that is a guava juice-based, delicious margarita that Colin made. I have my variation of a whiskey smashed with fruit. You can get both of those recipes on our website. We'll have links to that down in the description. Please try them both out, vote. Even if you didn't try them and you just think one's better, go ahead and vote because we want to know who wins. We're going to keep a tally of who's got the better drinks so that maybe in a year from now, we can have the bragging rights. One of us will win. But until then, keep drinking tequila, keep having fun, shake, strain.
We're the Agave Geeks.
Salud.
Cheers.
I think we've had enough tequila that I forgot to ask everybody to like and subscribe and do all those things. Share with your friends. Check out the social media.
On the bottom here?
Yeah, we should do this.
Yep.
I don't know. We can put something there.
I'm used to seeing that.
Here and there. Yeah, they do that.
And there's usually one up here, maybe too.
We'll learn how to do this at some point. But right now, we're just here to drink tequila. So
Thank you for watching.
thanks for watching.
It's a nice cutting board.
It is a nice cutting board from Galati Customs. It's a nice butcher block. I'm gonna have to do this all over again because I forgot to put the tequila in.
You did.
Have you ever eaten
Where's
like
the
actual guava?
Yes.
So
It's one of my favorite smells on the planet.
have you now when you eat it, is it like that and like pink in the picture, or
it's
you
more
have it where it's
yellow.
more like the yellow,
Yeah,
right?
it's more yellow.
So to me, it's super sour and never tastes like the juice.
It smells better than it tastes.
Yeah, so I feel like whenever I eat a guava, I'm like disappointed because it doesn't taste like the Kern's nectar that I used to have.
Yep.
It's like, you're not supposed to be sour. This is not it.
Passion fruit's the same way. I mean, like a fresh passion fruit is so tart.